and to talk about some of the issues that book publishers are facing, which is piracy. And piracy is a big issue. What do? There's two ways to combat it, and it happened during the heyday, or still there's DVD piracy, but during the hottest time or the climax of pirating DVDs. Companies decided to make the cost low enough that pirates, people who copied the intellectual property, would be forced to go out of business. For example, if a knockoff pirated copy DVD is selling on a street corner for $1.50 and the original is being sold for $2, $3, shrink-wrapped, original, and new, why would anyone go out and buy a pirated copy? The reason why pirated things come into existence is because individuals can't afford the price for what that brand is selling their product for. Hence, you have items becoming pirated or copied. Books, DVDs, medicine, websites, information, etc. So one of the first things that, as a book publisher, Mikazuki Publishing House decided to do, one of the things I decided to do as CEO of Mikazuki Publishing House, is to enforce the first rule, that education should be accessible by as many individuals as possible. What does that mean? Education should be accessible by as many individuals as possible. That means it should be affordable. That means people should be able to afford books. Books should not be expensive. One of the biggest reasons that books get pirated is because they're expensive. Look at individuals in college who borrow textbooks from each other. Look at the problems that students face who are facing financial difficulties, can't get their financial aid on time. What do? They end up sharing a textbook. They use a textbook from their friend. They borrow notes. These are problems. The accessibility of everyone, the accessibility for everyone to information is sacrosanct, it's vital, it's important for not only this economy, but also this democracy. It's important for everyone to be able to access information for a low cost, and that means books should be priced at a low cost. But what is a low cost and what is a high cost? Some people think $23 is a high cost. Some people think $14.99 is a high cost. What is a high cost? That has to do with the consumer, and it has to do with the amount of expert power that's being conveyed through that book. Because again, what is a book? A book is a vehicle for the transmission of information, for the transmission of knowledge. And authors and writers deserve to be paid, and they don't deserve to be pirated. They don't deserve to be copied or knocked off or imitated. However, what happens when you have an individual who can't afford to buy that book? What do? Do you deny that individual access to information? Do you tell them you can't have the book because you don't have the money in your pocket? Do you lower the price because of them? Do you sell one book at a higher price to a higher consumer and a lower price to another consumer? Yield management, just like the airline industry does. What do? What you do is you let the course of destiny do what it does. And if books are priced too high or DVDs are priced too high, they do get pirated because people want to have access to information. And if they can't access them, they will find a way to access them. Then again, if it wasn't valuable, they wouldn't try to access them. The reason why they try to access them is because there is value in them. But the problem is they can't afford it. So what do? They copy. And what happens? The author loses royalties. The writer loses royalties. The illustrator loses royalties. The publisher loses royalties. And that means less money, less jobs, less for the GDP, less for the economy. It's a spiraling problem. And how does it stop? It stops by publishers pricing their books at a price that is acceptable to consumers.